Now we're going to listen to Ben Shapiro talk about it, and it's going to be yet another fucking instance where I agree with Ben Shapiro. I'm going to lose my mind. I assume this is an instance where I agree with Ben Shapiro.
Of younger listeners who are big fans of Andrew Tate, who really enjoy Andrew Tate. Now, the big news over the course of the last couple of weeks is that Andrew Tate, for those who don't know, Andrew Tate is a very online guy who was a lightweight kickboxing champion, I believe, and he's become big in the so-called manosphere. He was banned from YouTube, I believe. He was banned from Twitter. And he was banned from these things because he was a self-described misogynist, right? Somebody who believes that men are superior to women in pretty much every possible way. Well, over the last couple of weeks, he got in an online fight with Greta Thunberg in which he was tweeting at her about how he had Bugattis and lots of gas guzzlers, and he was heating up the climate. And then she tweeted back at him that he had a small dick. It was all very silly. And then
I don't, like, Ben is the type of dude who just, like, doesn't like Andrew Tate, though. Like, Ben will defend anyone and everyone that is a champion for conservatism, but I'm pretty sure he's the type of dude who's like, no, this guy talks too much about sex. Like, he's the type of person who's like, who does unironically look to, like, would I want my daughters to date men that have learned from this guy? If he was just racist, Ben would love him all day, every day. But he's way too, like, legitimately puritanical to ever be in support of Andrew Tate, I think.
Then, one day later, he ended up being arrested by Romanian authorities. And the allegations against Andrew Tate is that he was engaging in sex trafficking. According to the New York Post, police in tactical gear descended on a villa where Andrew Tate and brother Tristan were staying Thursday to detain the British brothers on kidnapping and rape charges, judicial sources told Romanian outlet Libertatea. Video shows the officers with battering rams and guns sweeping through the dark villa before escorting Tate into a car. The brothers in April had allegedly detained two young women, one with American citizenship and one Romanian, inside the villa against their will, where they were subjected to physical violence and mental coercion, according to the authorities. Police said the Tates allegedly formed an organized crime group and sexually exploited women by forcing them to perform pornographic demonstrations for the purpose of producing and disseminating through social media platforms. The brothers had been questioned for 5 hours by the police back in April, but were released at the time. And then they are currently still being held in Romania right now. Now, Tate had predicted for a long time this would happen to him. He had predicted that people were going to come after him, that they were going to arrest him. Does that mean that he's not guilty of something? I have no idea. I have no idea whether he's guilty of these crimes. It could be trumped up. It could be the Romanian authorities who are embarrassed by Tate. It could be anything. I don't place a lot of stake in the law-abiding nature of the Romanian authorities. I literally know nothing about how the law... I mean, Andrew Tate literally said he moved to Romania in order to avoid law enforcement. So I don't know whether that's true or whether that's not. I assume all of that will come out in the wash. The thing I want to focus on is the popularity of Andrew Tate for a moment. And it's fascinating. Because
oh, wow. I'm surprised. He went way more middle ground than I thought he was going to. Like, he went way more fence sitter, middle ground centrist on this issue than I thought. That's crazy that he's just like, oh, I want to talk about his popularity. It's because nobody wants to fucking say these things that are truths. Like, that's what he's going to say, I think, right?
Because, again, I have a lot of young listeners who are interested.
No, I thought he was going to shit on Andrew Tate. I thought he was going to be like, this guy's a webcam guy. He's a pervert. I don't like it. You know, like.
Interested in the stuff that Andrew Tate says. The reason they're interested in the stuff that Andrew Tate says is because he's transgressive. He's transgressive in that he says things that no one else will say. Some of the stuff that he says is, frankly, terrible. And some of the stuff that he says is not terrible. Some of the stuff that he says is actually a version of truth. I mean, when he says that promiscuity is generally a bad thing, he says it only among women. Or he says when he says promiscuity for women is a bad thing. That used to be a relatively uncontroversial thought, but it's been considered bad to say that now. It's wrong. It's banned. Now, we live in a moment because we are so censorious online and sort of in the political world. We're so censorious. The Overton window has shrunk so much that there are two concepts that have been crimped.
Bro, this guy literally has a webcam business. Like, Ben Shapiro, an Orthodox Jew who is like the most puritanical man you've ever met, is defending a sex trafficker, allegedly, who is arrested for sex trafficking, okay, and rape. But, like, we know for a motherfucking fact that he was doing, like, e-pimping. That's crazy. Like, I get why Ben Shapiro defends anti-Semites all the time, especially if said anti-Semites like Ann Coulter are defending Israel. Ben has openly talked about how he doesn't care as long as someone defends Israel. He doesn't care if they are anti-Semitic. Okay? He's openly said that. But I'm genuinely shocked that he would defend like a guy who made a living originally doing like sex work. Like if you even think it's consensual, which it wasn't, it was sex trafficking, but like that's wild.
One is truth, as in like Pope Benedict XVI truth. Like things, eternal things of value that you're not supposed to say anymore.
It's obvious, like a guy who, by the way, a guy who wrote a book on how pornography should be banned, First Amendment, by the way, is now defending a pornographer.
A man is not a woman. Men should marry women. They should have kids, right? These are things that are now considered very controversial in the elite circles of the West. You're not supposed to say any of those things. So truth, like capital T, long-standing truths, these things have been denied. And then there's also been stuff that's been denied that's just kind of garbage, like stuff that's not nasty to say or yucky. And so what's been crimped is courage, right? People are afraid to say the truth, and they're also afraid to say their opinion because they lack courage, because the social sanctions are so strong. And so because the social sanctions are so strong, and because they go beyond just crimping the truth, they go to crimping pretty much everybody's feeling that they can even say anything, their opinion, jokes. Because of all of that, courage is now held in higher value than truth itself. Being willing to transgress lines is considered a highest value, because in a time where courage is under attack, courage is a very, very high value. Courage is always the first.
Oh my God, he's like defending how courageous Andrew Tate is for what? Saying, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Andrew Tate and his worldview is quite similar to Ben Shapiro's in many ways as a conservative. So Ben Shapiro's not saying Andrew Tate is courageous. He's saying Ben Shapiro is courageous. But like, that's not the reason why he's in jail, you fucking piece of shit. When is the turn coming? He has to talk about the turn. I also find it additionally hilarious that people have basically substituted being a fucking asshole with courage. What has happened to society? What has happened to our youth? What has happened to people, men in general, that we now just automatically assume the bigger an asshole you are, the more brave you are. It's not bravery to just repeat like the oldest fucking bigoted tropes over and over again. Your grandfather does it all the time for free. Do you think he's brave for doing that? No, he's not. He's just a fucking asshole. What the hell is this?
First value. I mean, C.S. Lewis says, courage is the first value, Christian. Courage is the first value in order to speak the truth. But courage is instrumental. Courage is useful so that you can speak the truth. What's happened in our society because we have decided to shut down so many modes of speech, because we've decided to ban people from social media and unperson them and destroy their lives and their livelihoods. Because we've done all of that, people who speak loudly are considered the best and the bravest. And it's particularly appealing to young people. And so when you draw a lot of fire, the way that Andrew Tate does, a lot of people see that as more courageous than if you say...
Okay, well, is that the reason why he's in jail? Is that what you're alluding to? This is like, never mind. I was wrong, by the way. This is unironically a new low for Ben Shapiro. I was wrong. I thought that Ben Shapiro is the type of dude who would not defend Andrew Tate and not make like the most psychotic. Like, this is the long way of repeating what Aiden Ross is saying. Okay? Ben Shapiro, for 12 minutes, is doing what Aiden Ross is saying. You know what I mean? With the exception of like asking Donald Trump to pardon Andrew Tate in Romania or some shit. Like, this is exactly what all the incels in Andrew Tate's fan base say. They're like, oh, he's not in jail for Romania is corrupt. He's not actually in jail for sex trafficking. He's in jail for the truth. He's in jail for being disruptive. He's in jail for being brave. What is the disruptive, brave takes that Andrew Tate has? Women have to marry men. And that, like, you know, trans people are crazy. How brave? Like, that's something that you hear from 99% of the fucking population for the most part. 99% of normies that are uninitiated with politics are like, yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, it's bigoted. There is no bravery there to repeat something that, like, most people believe and argue, even if it's wrong. And it is wrong, but it doesn't matter. If we're talking about it from the perspective of bravery, you're not brave for saying the sky is fucking blue.
Say something